that's ready. All right. Give me 1 second. Get this over here. All right. Let's see. It has been a minute since I used my YouTube, and apparently I have been shadow banned on YouTube. All the good ones are. So try. All right, so I need to basically get my algorithms fluffed back up on YouTube from where a group of people that harassed me and retaliated against me have tanked my channel just by going on liking things. It is what it is, but just a little bit of work to be had. I hope he's doing well today. I just have to fix a few things on my YouTube. And it's been a minute since I put in work on my YouTube because I've been dedicating time to TikTok because the platform's been pretty decent for me as far as video editing. So yeah, I'm trying to do some work on my YouTube. If anybody has any questions you'd like to maybe ask, maybe you've seen some of my content, you're curious about something, now might be the time for you to engage while I have few viewers. This thing could spike up to like 180 in no time. What's up, Hockey Bash? All right, where am I from? Probably another planet. I'm in Virginia right now, and I miss the road. How are you doing, Rainbow? It's been a minute. Just catching up on YouTube a little bit. I have to update. I'm taking some of my latest content from TikTok and pasting it over on my YouTube platform that I kind of haven't touched. I've been shadow banned, and apparently people are having trouble searching for me in the engine. And where are you from at, bro? Calvin and Rainbow, where are you guys from? Wonder if it's anywhere I've ever been. I love to travel, man. I can't wait to get back on the road. I'm doing this legal stuff right now, and probably take a couple years before I can free myself of it and get back on the road. Minnesota's a place I haven't been. I have not set foot or a rubber wheel in Arizona. In Minnesota. I have North Carolina. You guys are my neighbors down there in Carolina, Mitchell. I'm right across the border, literally right across the border. If you guys want to do me a solid, man, I would appreciate it. You don't have to go view these videos, but channel name, One Stop 14th Amendment Audit Shop is the same on YouTube. And if you guys can take a second to go find it, subscribe and care, just pull up some videos and just click like, man. You don't have to watch them. But my older videos on that channel are pertaining to things that have happened to me in Boulder, Colorado, with screwed up instances of law enforcement not knowing law. And then the latest from 3 years ago about the theft of my RV. And that's what got me set on the track to really study law. But the Boulder stuff, that was where a lot of wrongdoing occurred against me. Supreme Court with the Fourth Amendment on the border, 100 miles. Yeah, I think that was, not mistaken, something maybe a part of the Patriot Act. But I do know that, yes, within the border of the continent of the United States jurisdiction, yeah, within the border, there is some certain thing that they can use for border protection to search your stuff, but that's still a violation. So it is what it is. People don't fight. They don't stand up and they don't fight for things. So hell yeah, we need to, man. I'm here on the internet. Not that I want to be. I'm not a contenter. I'm trying to promote knowledge, not content. And I have to promote my content to promote knowledge. So it's like a job in itself. But where we're at right now, the things that you hear me say and talk about, I would encourage you to cross-reference some of these references to federal code. When I say racketeering, retaliation, seditious conspiracy, treason, obstruction, please look to the federal code and define these words by federal code, not by Webster's dictionary. Please do not do that. These I'm so repetitive with when I talk about certain acts that are carried out. You got to pay close attention because they're real when you are being descriptive exactly how it's occurring, like with my RV getting stolen. I was a victim that endured retaliation in a case where criminal information has gone obstructed, where these people would engage in acts of racketeering and theft of stolen property to try to extort me with it. I mean, I just kind of, that wasn't jumbled, but that was a little rant. But anyway, big words, but nonetheless, like it just, things fall into place a certain way. And because of the nature of the game, I have to report on the modus operandi, which is the MO. Common patterns of behavior within recorded crimes. So if you ever remembered those Law and Order shows, or if you ever seen those investigative shows, I never learned from them, never really watched, maybe a few minutes here and there. But they'll say that the perp in this new crime exhibited the same MO in this other crime over here. So what they're doing is they're looking for certain patterns of the criminal so that they can try to tie things into their investigation and hopefully show cause that that person, these things are occurring because who, what, when, where, why, fill in those gaps. Your landlord's smoking rock, bro. I will give you a tip right now that's very try not to engage in any verbal communication with your landlord. Also, look up what right you have in your state to record other parties in your conversation. So what that means is, Rainbow, find out if you can yourself record a conversation party of without consent from anybody else. In Virginia, you can do that. So what I'm getting at is these landlords, most of the time they don't have jobs. Their job is that you pay good money for your abode, your domicile, your rental unit, etc. Price gouging is real. And because of the nature of the game, they also, like an employer, they do not care about you. So, Rainbow, try to protect yourself. Try to get any correspondence from your landlord where she is threatening the safety and security of your livelihood. What this sounds like is a breach of peace. And that's for you pretty much content and good at your place without any headache. And what that sounds like is there's some headache, but I'm no lawyer. I'm just speaking from personal experience of where I'm coming from. I have encountered something really shady, and as far as rental matters go and whatnot, I never really truly recorded what I had went through with my rental matter. And I never really covered it online to share with others. But I was a victim of um, a fraudulent eviction, an eviction that was a micromanaged fraudulent eviction, meaning we were paid up until January 1st. And just because somebody didn't like us and wanted us out before Christmas to really rain on our parade, they hired an outside company that had no contracts to me or tenants whatsoever, and I was paid up through the first. So the moment that occurred, we had a micromanaged eviction. I had to go to court, file an answer, and then I filed a counterclaim in court because it was a case of fraud. What happened with that? I dropped the ball on that case, and I failed myself, essentially due to stability issues and being homeless. So on your plate as is, sometimes maybe with or without transportation, etc. And it's really nasty what they do to us, and it's kind of cool what the COVID has done to the court systems recently, allowed for video appearances. So you're not in court. You're not, even though you're in session in court and still sworn and stuff, you're not physically in court. You be running down the road with one of those little anchors over your head with the phone and a green screen behind you for all they know. Well, there's one guy that does that. Anyway, right now I'm just going through my YouTube. I'm making sure I monetize every monetize. My channel's been tanked by some very nasty people, and it's like at a certain point when I had to say what I had to say and let them know what they were doing as accessories to a criminal episode, most of them just shut up at that point because they were like, holy crap, yeah, he's kind of making sense. And this is going to be investigated. They're retaliating in federal court when I file next year. I've been constantly resetting the clock. Reporting. Check your lease, check your contracts, man. I wouldn't landlord unless, I mean, if they're threatening you, but at the same time, making record of all communications is something that I completely recommend. So what is your because you're here, Rainbow Engaging. What's the most favorite thing that I've touched base on, interested in? That's all monetized. All right, I don't want to do no memberships. I'm not selling anything here other than ideas and knowledge. I'm monetized right now. I have been for a minute. I haven't done too much with it. Yeah, man. I heard something profound the other day, and it was in regards to trauma. And a guy said, he said, at a certain point, uh, you realize other individuals are really growing and learning and flourishing and thriving while some are stuck in survival mode. And I'm teetering a fine line between the two. And it's really weird how right now, solely because what I'm dealing with pertains to law. And law is extremely convoluted and it's just as a weapon that needs to be flat out known. So what you can do is you find an ordinance, a statute, um, or look at what current legislation they're proposing. If you read it and you find something that's suspect, that says, well, wait a minute, we should have a right. This shouldn't be managing something that we have a flat out right to. So it is complex, but like I said, it's micromanaged. So if you're pulling weeds in the yard, you just don't want to pick the leaves off of them. You want to pull it up at the root. That's what I've started to kind of deal with. Is basically figuring out what fight is and where the root is that I should be pulling it from. So this whole battle pertaining to the DMV right now and the whole driving and all the tags and the titles and the registration and the insurance and the stickers, the inspections, whatever the state wants me to do with my private property, I don't want to engage in that anymore. And I'm just about there to report to the DMV another time, the second time in 3 years that I'm homeless. So they will cancel me. I'm not asking to be canceled. I'm not voluntarily turning my stuff in and saying, cut me off. I'm saying I'm reporting an address change. I am homeless and they will cut me. This is not my house. You've noticed I have not filmed a lot of videos inside here. This is not my house. It's somebody else's house. And right now I am contracting with the use, with the permission and the consent of them, the use of their address for myself. This is not my address. This is a contract address. When you realize everything in life revolves around contracts, bing, 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 winning. So this is a part of the fight that's padding my legal defense for upcoming trial by juries, because I'm going there, man. I'm going to make sure these people pay for what they did to me. And these people are unfortunately the taxpayers, but through complacency and ignorance, hey, here we are today because nobody wants to work and do anything regarding the corruption. So when I say I'm homeless and report that change as I get it here soon, they're going to cancel me. And then when I go into the courthouse and they start talking about privilege and requirements of the state, I'm going to explain to them how the DMV just threatened proof to citizenship. Therefore, I cannot prove I am a state citizen of Virginia. It's going to be very interesting. Even though and I told the DMV this, I live here, I reside here, but I don't have a physical address here. They said, we can't help you. So when I had the judge, the fraud that was, essentially the clerk of the DMV, the manager, coached me to commit fraud by saying pick an address. And I refused to do that. And you, I'm sure, understand why at this point. I do not consent to the address that is not my own. So checkmate DMV and Virginia laws. So you are not going to be made against me just because I'm homeless and tell me all this stuff is built around privileges of a slave society. Not buying it. I refuse to slave to go work for the coin, to go get that residency and address that's contracted with a legal agreement, whatever, dude. It's just like it's contracted. So the people that live in RVs, they contract, they don't have their own addresses. That RV is where you address them. But because of the nature of the game, they want to keep up with this. So I get people to realize, hey, wake up. You're homeless. If you don't have your own property in your name, you are this. You are contracting a home that is not your home. That is where you reside. That is where you currently live, but that is not your home. Do not have your own home. You are homeless. Majority of society in our country is in fact homeless. Yet living on the streets, but they are homeless by definition. We can't just say homeless live on the streets. No, they're homeless couch, homeless renting rooms. There are homeless living in cars, in RVs, in hotels. There are homeless all over America. This corporation Blackstone's been buying up all the property, and we are slaving to fuel the oligarchies, the corporate world. The money runs itself. What's up, Couch Surfer, man? I did that for a while. Sinister Minister, thank you for tuning in. I haven't yet seen your names around. I want to thank you for taking time to check out what I'm putting down. I'm trying to respond much with any non-relative information to anything I'm working on. So, hey, Tic Tac, blah, blah, blah. I read it, Tic Tac. Tiki Cat Bird. You totally just gave me my first rose and popped my live feed gift cherry. I want to thank you because, like, I'm flattered and I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to do. Like it's real. It's too real. I thank you for your support very, very much. I'm here to make money doing this. At the same time, I'm not out there to make money doing that. I'm working on what I'm working on because people need to know what reality is. I mean, it's not just mine. I am sharing it, and with a consensus, with understanding, acknowledgement, and careful consideration, critical thinking. I think my reality and what I work with here and there with different aspects of what I've involved myself with and what's been brought to my feet, I believe directly affects everybody. So that's why I'm working on it. And I won't be able to go back out on the road and be the nomad that I love being, traveling gypsy hobo that I was, where I was just really thriving. I was so fit. I was so happy. I was so healthy. I didn't care out of a dumpster from behind a store. I didn't care. Like, I wasn't pulling out schlop. No, I was pulling out like fresh, chemical, uncontaminated stuff that just gets thrown away because we're a waste society. Even though we're a slave society, we slave to produce so that way we can produce jobs and that way throw stuff away and pay more because of game. It's really sick the way that the system's designed. I myself would have gone into the military from high school, and I'm glad I didn't. I started playing some video games like Battlefield back in the day, and there were certain roles as commanders where you communicate with squad leaders and dictate positions and send them to certain points in the field. So I studied that style art of war, so to say, on a battlefield, and positioning is very important. Um, it's all like business. They say business, location, location, location. Um, it's very important. And right now we have brothers and sisters in the military that leave us behind over here, and they go over there to fight for our rights. No, no, I'm sorry. You're fighting for what are you? Those what are they really fighting for? It's not for us. It's not for our freedom. I don't want anybody fighting for my freedom because I don't want freedom. I want to be free. I believe that the word freedom, which I have researched this and have not found extensive thought, ideology, philosophy on this, but root free, I'm sorry, not root, fix, free, suffix, dom, free, dom. We have the ability, the idea that we're free with domination behind it, presiding over it, so to say. Um, it makes you think what really it is to have freedoms and what it could mean to be free. There could be a fine line. That's why I keep thinking about that idea. Um, we have to sign up as people here, as human beings, with a respected state. Now, I've worked hard to try to get out of the system because I didn't like the nature of the game. Not that I wanted to break entirely free. I was just trying to figure out how I can be just truly left alone. And it's like every year there's got to be some extra bill from the government on me, and I'm just tired of it. Um, the the last big bill I had was without a license. I wanted to put food on the table, and it was my first time as a cat fisherman, which probably explains why I'm not privy to want to ever catfish. I don't want a cat, don't want to look at a cat. And it's probably from the trauma that I endured of having to pay $750 to the state of North Carolina for fishing without a license when I was trying to put food on the table. I begged the game wardens to take me in, give me a roof, give me food, let me appear in court and answer for my crime. They didn't want to take me in. They didn't want that fee, but they damn near wanted every penny I got back on an income tax check a long time ago. And common trend. It was always some tickets, some suspension, some nothing major, no accidents, no major non-victimless stuff. And that corporate greed you speak of runs well our justice system, our political system and parties. And we don't need political parties. We need unification. We don't need any division. We don't need more parties. We need more unification. Um, I'm blah. Yeah. So, what's up, Coach? How are you doing, man? Tuning in on YouTube. I appreciate you being there. Um, so, I'm really interested in collaborating at this point. Interested in finding people that have been successful in a couple different lawsuits, conspiracy against rights, deprivations of rights, and retaliation against the victim of crime. I doubt I'll be like anybody who's done a RICO case themselves. But what I'm a victim of is racketeering, and I wanted to show the transparency of that through my channels to let you guys know, hey, look, if you're a victim, a witness, or an informant, and you get close to law enforcement and you begin reports, you need to understand the nature of their game and their behavior. Because depending on what the report is, depending on who it pertains to, and what could be the possible outcome of that report depends on all what that officer of the law wants to do with that criminal information. So, is it going to be given due process in accordance with law? We don't know. You gave it to a cop with a conflict of interest that is, I mean, everything says be corrupt to the cop who came with murder. So I recently spoke with a trooper and I said, "Hey, look, if I'm walking down the street and a judge or a Commonwealth attorney who is an elected official unalives me with like a weapon of some form and I lie and somebody calls the cops and the cops come and they're like, well, who did it? And they point to that person over there. And let's say it's a judge or a Commonwealth attorney or a congressman for that matter. They're going to tell their supervisor, report to their supervisor, and oh man. All right. So who did it? All right. That's an elected official. Where was it done? Here in Virginia. Oh, well. Well, 52-8.2 basically says if it's an elected official that we got to stand down, call off the dogs, the forensics. We don't need anybody investigating over here. So the next step is for it to be taken up with the grand jury, Virginia Assembly, or the Virginia governor. So now that a crime's been committed, let's say my family is outraged, they're grieving, they're stressed beyond belief because there's no justice. Nobody else in the world would advocate for me. These cops don't care about the elected official committing a crime like that. Trust me, because there's legislation that's been proposed and passed by the traitors that were treasonous, engaging in a seditious conspiracy. And what they did is proposed law for obstruction of justice at that specific time with that specific person, because that's how meticulous law is. So I do the same crime. There's no law that protects me with obstruction of justice. But because that person that is an elected official commits the crime, now it's time to protect them and their criminal behavior. That's evidence of seditious conspiracy. It's evidence of treason. That statute alone right there. Find the names that were attached to it, everybody that voted on it, everybody that pushed it through, proposed it, signed their name to it. They are all need tried for their crimes that are felonies. So, knowing that that had happened, and it was perjury by a judge, there's no real public outcry, even though the public gladly lines up like cattle and sheep and goes back to the courthouse to be presided over in a case with a lying, perjuring judge. I don't understand how I'm the only one fighting. Like, these people are still going in front of that judge. It's like, do you not know the law? Truly the law. They don't. So people are going to, the judge is probably being told, hey, just keep going to work. Just ignore them. We're going to take care of it. It'll die sooner or later. I will, or the cover up. So anyway, the crime's been committed. The lie's been done. Now, from the videos on TikTok, you'll hear the trooper saying, well, the investigation's got to be handled by the grand jury, the Virginia Assembly, or the Virginia governor's office. At that point, are you handing it to them? No, he's not handing it to them. You know what they do? They stand down. They throw it under the fire at the highest place, the state police, right now. Because I have recorded, and you have witnessed it if you've watched the videos, Anna from the governor's office straight up hanging up on me in retaliation. Clerks, or I'm sorry, not clerks. Um, Virginia Commonwealth Attorney's Office doing the same thing, hanging up on me, retaliating. And the people that are around are free to commit crimes against me from what I'm recording and sharing. And I want you guys to know this because in case anything happens to me, I know there are a couple people that would raise some serious hell. And I know what they're doing to the whistleblowers. They kill them. They get them off the face of the earth. They make sure they don't exist, and it's a threat and danger to society and the safety and security of a country to be treating whistleblowers a certain way. And you can't Clinton everybody. Um, Cope Dog, I haven't really followed delete much after you told me what you did. I'm not really interested to get involved at that point, but I'm more interested to understand if he's going to even try to tackle that allegation and what line of defense he may have. Like I said, if I could ever talk with him, I'd be interested to swap some ideas because he is claiming he's filing his lawsuits. And if he's filing those lawsuits, he doesn't want to default on that because he can probably, yes, he can get hit with potentially to appear in that matter. Um, and things are just going to compound. So, like he's got to play his cards right. And that I know I'm not coming on TikTok and giving detailed information about my strategy, but I'm letting you witness the testimonials, the things I talk about, the exhibits, some things that I'm letting you witness that so you can piece this together yourself and try to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and what information I'm gathering for certain reasons. But I want to record people hanging up on me in certain offices. Why would I want that information? Well, it's to prove retaliation via obstruction of justice. That's plain and simple. And that act of retaliation against a victim of crime and attempted obstruction of justice, well, that's depriving me of my rights to due process as a crime victim. So they're standing in my way of receiving what I'm rightfully entitled to. These are rights. But every song, and they want to say when they take our guns, man, it's too late. They practically already have. Look at the state of Maryland, unborn native. There is no permission for a right to carry in the Maryland Constitution. That's right. I said Maryland Constitution. So you have to ask for permission to conceal a firearm in their state or ask for permission via application that they don't have to honor and say, okay, you can open carry. And I thought about this because, my nomadic ass, if I travel with my stuff on my back, I could have a rifle slung over my shoulder passing through jurisdictions. People did this long ago. It's not a crime now. It's not a crime now. It's all of a sudden now a crime, but it's not a crime. They make it a crime. Evidence of treason and seditious conspiracy. And that's what I'm trying to teach people. Like, you need to follow the reason why we are deprived certain rights from the law, going upstairs, following the ladder to the people who all sign their names on that, but we can't get them charged, tried, and convicted. There's so much red tape. So the system runs amok, and everything that they do is for the purpose of their own growth, their own benefit, and excelling with what they do. Yeah, so I don't want to be in their states actually. I have no right to any land that I was born onto. Okay? I have no right to any land that I was born onto. So I choose not to, and I don't beyond Virginia unless we can fix this here and start a model of precedent for our nation. I don't want to register and be a member that would minimize my protected rights as a human being. Let's not micromanage me being able to feed myself with a fishing pole and travel. No. So this is what I'm out to do. I'm making light of the most important thing it is to be just a man. We are not slaves. We are not machines. Yeah, Cope Dog, you're on TikTok now. Um, yeah, I'm good. I look up the contract stuff, man. Law contracts. We give them consent over us, and we give them jurisdiction over us, and I completely understand that. I've looked into the state national movement, the sovereign movement, not sovereign citizen, but the sovereign movement. I had people calling me a sovereign citizen because I spit legalese a night before I crammed it into my brain at the time and sounded because I was mumbling. I was spitting it out, chopped and screwed. It didn't come out right. And people took that video like Audit the Audit, Creaky's Blind Ranger's Dead Cat, Blue Bacon, Van Balian, Unclean Hands. Like all of them took my video, did a commentary on it, chopped it up, named my character, retaliation, and the act of harassment. So, I've went through it. So it is what it is. I'm your first TikTok. All right. Yo. Um, yes, it is federally unlawful to create a list of gun owners. With that being said, one born bad, the FBI had collected records, but cannot make the list. They can keep the records. Now, for so many records that the floor fell through the building of this place because there was so much weight in paper records. So then they created a database to store the records. Now, we know from using Excel, you can search for certain keywords on a document and bing, get created. And what is that a part of? A list of words that are registered to be traced. So that is, yes, illegal, but it's not stopping them from trying to continue to do it or quietly doing it right now. States or paper, yeah. Well, you may have heard the stand on your constitutional rights, but you can try. It does not mean that the state is going to honor them because the state has a list of invidious legislation that would be fraud, that would abrogate, basically revoke, restrict, impede our protected rights in their state. So it's just racketeering. It's all evidence of racketeering. We live in a slave society with a hive mind that we have to go to work, get a job, go rent and get. I mean, the American dream is just straight up butchered. It's a nightmare. I don't want none of that. I want the old American dream, the old pioneer dream, the old traveler dream, the old hobo dream. I don't want to live a life revolving around a concrete jungle, halogen long tube light bulbs, desks, telephones. That's not the life I want to live. I don't need much to sustain. I really don't. I don't. And food, if it's going to be for us to trap, for us to fish, it should be given to everybody for free. Period. With all the food that we have going to waste, be free. All food should be free. We could corner the market of production and producing only what we need to sustain, cutting all the overhead, all the extra jobs that are produced to produce the waste alone. That's where the inflation occurs. So I have a theory, and it's a golden opportunity of a theory, but I don't understand how it would ever be implemented and take off. I have a theory that we should all pirate the earth as human beings. We should ignore the standard traditional systems of taxing, of unlawful extortion, of non-victimless crimes, and all that stuff. We should ignore all that. We should pirate the corporations. We should take what we need, and the corporations that need to keep the cogs turning to produce what we need in society. You would have volunteers. You wouldn't have workers. You'd have people who'd say, "Hey, I want to be busy today. I want to help. I want to go help out at the plant," and those people would go help out at the plant. And we don't need 50 different model cars, each with their own sub model kinds. We don't need 30 different kinds of yogurts, 30 different kinds of ice cream brands. It's just like everything today in our society is for profit at the expense of our mental and physical health. And it really fucks us up because we're not being told the truth. We're being deceived at every turn and we're being lied to. And this great awakening happened fast enough. Just need one of those little sulfur poppers, just pop it under everybody's nose and get them woken up real quick. I don't know what it's got to be filled with. It's got to be something kind of good to get these people to wake up. Yeah, Cope Dog, we are byproducts of another man's failed societal construct. I'm not I'm not against government. I'm not anti-government. I'm anti-corruption first and foremost. I am corruption. Um, Knowing that the corruption is just running rampant in the system at every turn because but you can't cut, can't bleed, it's inanimate. So the government's not corrupt. It's the people that are employed in the government positions in office. They're called actors. They're in costume. They're in uniform, just like a bank robber would be during a heist. That's what this is. Um, it's no different than a heist. Um, yeah, Rainbow. It's just not. I mean, a boycott's not going to do it for buying and selling things. Uh, America, America was first and foremost. The Americas. It was the Americas. It was a compilation of Americans, not U.S. citizens. There were no U.S. citizens first and foremost. We never actually had our country, fellas. I hate to tell you, we never had our country. It's long ago, and I have a theory based off of what I've learned. Yeah, Cope Dog, you're in Maryland. You know what I'm talking about. It's not gun friendly because of the legislation criminalize somebody and make them a criminal for exercising a protected right. So there's people afraid in Maryland to exercise their right to carry constitutionally, and they're afraid. And this is why people hide. And you have less patriots and more scared victims. That's what it is. Scared victims afraid to stand up to tyranny and their oppressors. And I spoke on this. The Virginia state flag says Sic Semper Tyrannis, and there is a warrior standing over the body of a tyrant laying out dead on the ground. This flag is very brilliant because it was constructed by the free people of the state of Virginia that was originally created, the first state of Virginia. Okay, so during the Reconstruction Acts, they came down into Virginia via act of Congress from the Union and pirated the state, and they took it from the people. They got office. They took the state and then ratified the 14th and the 15th, brought it in the Union. But they didn't rebrand the fresh time state. The people came with it, and we all know how we're always filled in on everything. They tell us, okay? So these people were basically hijacked in an act of piracy via the order from Army. Now, here's the kicker. They brought Virginia back into the Union, okay? Virginia into the Union. Virginia got to keep its original flag, showing a warrior standing over the body. Inspiration much for rebellion? After all, sic semper tyrannis, thus always to tyrants. And what I'm encountering in my life is tyrants. And they don't live in my community. They don't eat at my tables. They don't even really shop in plain clothes in stores I shop at. I don't even think they go to the same rundown movie theater I go to. As a matter of fact, I see these people out much in my community, in our community. I don't see the people that run the show behind the strings out bringing people together. So they work for the people. They represent the people. They're of the people, for the people, and by the people. But they're not hanging out with the people. They're not trying to bring community together. Sounds legit. Anyway, guys, I appreciate the ones that have tuned in, and let me review a couple comments here real quick. Yes, the language does have us trapped. We, the wave, from what I have researched, is over the years they continuously cook the definitions and the language up to further the agenda that they're trying to pull off. I believe that since the Tea Party, since the American Revolution days, because that Tea Party was saying no to taxation. We don't want this BS from England. These practices, we're free people over here. They didn't. I believe our country had been infiltrated by lawmen or people who were inspired from the lawmen who engaged in career practices of politics. And they basically cornered the market in our system that is they run the show. There was a survey analysis that was done. It was conducted by a prestigious college. I want to say Harvard. It was League. I remember the name of the study, and I can't remember the exact college. But what it exactly pertained to is the influence that we, the people, have to make changes here in our area, in our country, in our jurisdictions. We don't have influence, guys. The politicians, they own us. When we elect them to represent us, they represent us. So they want us to be criminalized for chewing gum and walking backwards down the sidewalk. They can make sure we are criminal for doing, because they represent us. They're going to make sure they do what's best for us. Remember that. Anyway, I'm about to get off here, guys. Yeah, true. A home should be lived in, man. There's a lot that are empty and vacant, and they should be kept clean. The community should upkeep these homes so people can travel and pass through and utilize these. Fighting herpes. That's funny, man. U.S. is a country. America is a landmass. Get back to the tangible thing. Yeah. The United States is a country. Yeah, I was born in America. I was actually born in a state of fucking law. I appreciate you for tuning in, Cope, man, and thank you for you do something here and there. I'm starting to take my videos from TikTok and bringing them back to my YouTube. And for those of you TikTok not familiar with my YouTube, there is a button on my TikTok that will link you to my YouTube. And you can also search the same account name, One Stop for Audit Shop. And I've been shadow banned, so apparently there's videos. But if you'd like to know a little bit about something about what I went through pertaining to theft of my RV, all of my basic essential needs, that's a good story to hear. That's all on there. This one pertains to latest and greatest corruption beyond all the clickbait I initially uploaded at the beginning of my profile that pertains to a lot of encounters with me in law enforcement. Beyond that is the latest and greatest stuff. Man, yeah. Magnum, sorry for that, dude. Guys, look, I'm gonna get off here. I am gonna go do something. I don't know. I might go live later. I might go film cops if they're out. Last night they were out. It was graduation for the high school. They were out everywhere, and I saw at least 3 people pulled over that were pretty much let go with a quickness. So they didn't want to hold them long. I'm assuming they were writing tickets, but getting them in the system and getting them gone. I saw task force out a lot last night, and I hadn't heard much on the scanner with 911, so there hasn't been too much dangerous stuff going on. But anyway, I'm out of here. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in very much. I feel like I'm hearing myself talk, but I do appreciate those that have been engaging. Osgood Black, you as well. Thank you for coming in here and engaging, man. You have a wonderful day as well, everybody, and peace be with you all.